And it was so stressful. And I was like, I need something to just accelerate this to get me out of here. So
I have the absolute pleasure, Jason Graystone. What was it about Forex that you knew that you could make a success of?
there was so much crap out there, unbelievable amounts of crap, who have this kind of Dunning-Kruger where they believe their own lies. When you're in a level of poverty, you're unable to learn complex skills. You're unable to deal with decision-making processes, and that's everyone's approach to trading today. It's like they're desperate to get out of a situation, or they need a rush to make money. If you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean you're a good trader. Entrepreneurship is being able to leverage resources to do things that you're not good at, kind of being a puppet master of things that, that you're not good at, right? Yeah. Trading, it's only you. It's going the other way as well, where we're seeing everyone like, if you're not an entrepreneur, you're like a failure. I remember crying in pitch blackness in our flat. I was scared. I was left with these gangsters all day. My real dad gets shot, stabbed.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So before we begin today's podcast, I'd like to say a big thank you to Casita Properties, the UK leading property company when it comes to off-market discrete buy-to-let sales. All the links will be in the description below. I have the absolute pleasure, we met some time ago, Jason Graystone. Thanks so much for coming onto my channel, mate.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love what you're doing. Thanks for having me.
We, for anyone that doesn't know, we met, I think it's about 2.5 years ago, I reckon.
Right. Well, I was in my last house and I moved in December 19. So it was either early 19 or 18.
Yeah, it probably was actually 19. Yeah. And you joined, I believe it was a Knightley's live roundtable, I think it was.
I did, yeah.
Which was awesome. Back in the day, we'd have a live attendance of people learning and taking things from successful people. So we connected most recently, and it's exciting to have you on, mate. We're gonna get into some hot topics, but for anyone that doesn't know Jason Graystone, mate, give us a little bit of an overview of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm an investor primarily. I am an angel investor. I invest in stocks and businesses. I'm also a trader, and I'm an entrepreneur. Ultimately, love building businesses, and I help people build wealth and build businesses and create freedom for themselves.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think for me, one of the things that appealed to me when I can't remember where I first came across you. I don't know whether someone recommended you. I know there's a couple of people that are in my sort of network that think highly of you. And I think when we connected, what I really liked about your content, and for anyone that goes and checks Jason out, is that you have sort of this humble sort of demeanor about you, and you can tell you're just putting the yards in, and as we were talking off camera, you can sort of smell the bullshit from a mile away. And what I like what you're doing is that you show a lot of what you do. So you document, a lot of what you do on socials, and you give a lot of value for free. And I like what you're doing as well. So let's just dive straight into the Forex, because elephant in the room, you don't know who to go to, who to believe, what's genuine, what's not genuine. Where does someone even start with the whole Forex thing?
Yeah, look, the reason I got into Forex education is because there was so much crap. And the way that I got into it was from a place of, I don't need any money. I'm at home trading literally every day. And there was so much crap out there, unbelievable amounts of crap, who have this kind of Dunning-Kruger where they believe their own lies, these educators out there. And you could just see it a mile off. And I'd basically spent a long time developing a skill that I was finally, cracking. And I thought, none of this is relevant. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to let everyone watch me trade my account. And that's what I did. I started just for free, just opening we opened this little webinar thing, and people could just come and watch me trade. And I was trading my live account. Some days it'd be nothing, some days it would be something. But very quickly we built a really strong following, because it was like so refreshing that this is like the truth, and there was nothing bad anyone could say because it was free and everyone was coming. Anyway, it got so big that we got to the point where I had to pay to upgrade the server, and I was like, hang on a minute, I don't want to be out of pocket. So we sort of upgraded, and it kind of went from there, and we sort of built this big community of traders, which are still around today, which speaks in volumes. But I advise that no one gets into trading if you're in a level of poverty. And I say poverty because poverty's relative to every person's individual circumstances. It's like not being able to afford your own comforts.
Yeah.
And it's funny, today I put out a post about, there was this study done on in India, 56 cities in India, where they surveyed the farmers' IQ levels. And when there was a drought and the market was low and there was no trade, their IQ dropped by 30 points. And then when it was booming, their IQ raised by 30 points. And what it indicates is when you're in a level of poverty, you're unable to learn complex skills. You're unable to deal with decision-making processes. And that's everyone's approach to trading today. It's like they're desperate to get out of a situation, or they need a rush to make money. And that very approach is why they can't learn it.
Do you know what? I think it's also to do with you're very good at explaining. I remember actually the first time we spoke, I remember talking to you about Forex after, and I have to admit, even I came away thinking, probably, I think I'll give this a good fucking crack. Right. Because you break it down quite easily. And I think, just like any training or mentorship, I think there's this little bit of a hidden secret. What a lot of mentors do is they baffle the shit out of you with a lot of complex wording. So you are almost a little bit baffled to thinking, I don't really know what it means. So they have to stick around. Whereas,
I don't care if you learn it or not. It's like,
yeah, exactly. And if you just speak it as it is, layman terms, and I use the same example in finance with, you could go and learn finance from a lot of different people, and there's a lot of complicated words, a lot of big words that you don't necessarily understand. And a friend of mine, Andrew Craig, who started a company called Plain English Finance, makes it so simple.
Right.
Really nice and easy. And actually for anyone to go, okay, maybe it's not, maybe I could learn it on my own. And I like what you're doing because it's very easy to understand. And I think it's probably why you've built up a very good community, because people get it. Yeah. People can come away not baffled to think, it's not for me, I need to be, degree level, A level. Whereas it's kind of opportunities for everyone. So
absolutely.
I've got a question for you though. Does Forex allow you to swim with penguins? It's just a question that we all want to know. I personally don't think it does, but we'll move on. Look, with Forex, let's just talk about the living of it. Mm-hmm. How does someone make a living of it? Because I think there's a lot of confusion around, you start Forex and all of a sudden you're earning $2,000 a month. It's not like that, is it?
No. For me, Forex trading, forget Forex, any kind of speculation, like anything that requires a high level of skill, attention and effort to master something, to beat someone at a game, boxing, poker, Forex, whatever it is the last thing that's going to kind of give you, like, accelerate your returns, like, if you like. So from the way that I went into it is, first I was saving, then I was investing very passively and putting some money in the market and getting a feel for it and putting some money at risk that wasn't kind of at risk, index funds and things like that. And then I would kind of earn my right to higher levels of risk. So then I'd play with ETFs and start investing in ETFs. Then I would look at individual stocks, and then I would put a lump sum of capital into individual stocks. And you're kind of building this pyramid, with a concrete foundation and then some kind of volatility to accelerate the income growth, and then some speculation at the end, which is just like the rapid returns that are going to almost grow the whole portfolio quicker, but not to the degree where you can't afford, like, if you lost it, you've lost your shit and you've lost your house, you lost your shirt. And that's how I've always structured it. So Forex trading for me was a very strategic play at just trying to hit a certain percentage across my total portfolio so I could replace my income. Yeah. And that was a plan since I was 22, and I did it at 29. So it took a long time, and I learned a lot of lessons in that. But by the time I was 29, I basically had covered my current lifestyle costs from investing, stock picking and trading, and that was it.
I like that. I just want everyone to look at camera when I say this. That took you, 7 years?
Yeah.
That's a very close timeline to myself. So there is a huge chat about this. We were talking about it on the way up, is about replacing I think people are becoming more savvy that there is more out there to be had if they're around the right people, if they're learning the right things.
I hope so.
Time frame is very realistic. You've said a 7-year period. It's funny, that's very close to mine. I would say mine was 21. I'm 30 now. I've been able to replace my income. And it is not done overnight. And like you say, you put in, don't you find with entrepreneurship, you have to put in so much front end work, education, learning, trial, error, trying things and cutting it off. And I think that's when it comes to Forex, people think, start it, take up signal trading or put in a bit of money, and all of a sudden you're earning a few thousand a week. And that's where think a lot of people are losing out on where a lot of these scams are. It's
Absolutely.
just not like that.
No. I mean, look, if you're trying to replace your income just through Forex trading, work out what your lifestyle costs you, and then, you know, what percentage of what amount you need in your account to cover that. But not only cover that, you need to leave money in the account as well to grow it. So it's like, take 50%, like any decent business would leave 50% profit in the business to grow the business, right? So just think about it. And it's like all common sense goes out the window. And it's no wonder because of the way that it's advertised and how it's easy and all that crap.
Yeah. And the trading day is done. But I'm not going to push you too much on it. But I think, why did you choose to get into Forex? Because there is a huge talk for people. But let's start with marketing. There's a huge amount of marketing on all these different options on how to earn money. Forex is definitely up in the top 10, has to be. So that is a very confusing thing for a lot of people who are desperate to get out their job, are, biting at the bit to get out and really have that kind of entrepreneurial spark. And I feel that you could name Amazon dropshipping, Forex, Shopify, or property has got to be up there. But why did you choose Forex? What was it about Forex that you knew that you could make a success of?
At the time in my life, I was so close to replacing my income. I needed about another 3% a year. That's all I needed. And I was looking at ways that first of all, if you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean you're a good trader. Entrepreneurship is being able to leverage resources to do things that you're not good at, and like kind of being a puppet master of things that, you know, that you're not good at, right?
Yeah.
Trading, it's only you. So entrepreneurs have got this fluffy creative idea that they could just blow the screen and the chart will go up, you know, so that doesn't happen. So that's that. But I was in this place where I needed to generate some more returns. And the way that I'd gone about all this, right, is one of the businesses that I'd started, I'd just started so I could become financially free. So I was completely abusing this business, pulling as much money out of it as I can to put into my investments. And with that comes its problems of volatility, can't afford to pay, you know, need more team, but don't really want more team, and they're getting business. Right. And it was so stressful, and I was like, I need something to just accelerate this to get me out of here. So I looked at online poker first, and I looked at options trading. Online, when I started trading, there was no adverts of Forex. There was a couple, you know, there was a couple of the old kind of snake oils that we spoke about, but there was not really a lot of adverts. There was not a lot of social media on Forex trading. And I went for poker, online poker. I put about 10 grand into online poker. And then at the same time, I was looking at the financial markets, and that I kind of understood because I was a decent business owner and understood stocks and I understood financial statements, and it just resonated a bit. And really, the two are really similar. Poker and Forex trading, really similar. The only difference that I found was with poker's harder because you have to make a decision every 60 seconds. Whereas Forex trading, you don't. It's like you've got a little bit more time. And that was literally what swayed it. So I was like, okay, I'll do more of this. I blew about 35 grand, you know, all the different mistakes. I wasn't approaching it like a get rich quick. I wasn't approaching it stupidly. I'm an engineer, so I got quite a logical mind. And the ego hit a little bit. It was like, why can't you master this? You know, why is this so hard? So I just worked at it, and you know, eventually, after about 3 years of just trading, that's when I hit my replacement income, and that was it.
The rest is history.
Yeah, no one knew who I was then. You know, I was literally I moved into a beautiful house, and you know, I was eating a lot because I was just at home. And I thought that's when I just started to decide sharing what I was doing, because at least I could talk to people, because it was quite lonely.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get onto socials. With your education, has that been mostly, have you been self-educated? Because again, this is something where people are weighing up, I haven't got the money to pay for a mentor, but I'm dying to learn new things. And for anyone that is willing to learn, there's plenty of free resources out there. But how did your career sort of take its toll with a mentor, without?
I think this is where the entrepreneurial side does help, because entrepreneurs just take risks. And if you want to build a business or scale a business, you know that you have to aggressively access finance, funding, you have to influence people. And if you're on your own doing that, the aggressive kind of approach to growing that on your own is taking the risks of paying mentors, buying books, going on courses. You know, you're outlaying a lot of money in the hope that you're gonna get a result or some kind of return or lesson. And to this day, everything I've ever spent money on, I don't think I've not had a return on, because I always see the lessons. I always see the, you know, even if it was crap, I'm like, well, that was a lesson, you know, it saved me in the long run. So being able to continuously do that, you kind of get this feedback loop of this works, you know, it might be intangible, outlaying $6,000 to sit with someone for an hour or whatever, but it does pay off. And I think the entrepreneurial aspect of the personality is able to do that, whereas a lot of people, they don't want to, they don't want to take the risk. Yeah.
No, and that's the thing. I think there's two parts to risk. I think there's risk in it. You know, we've spoken about this quite a lot on this channel, is that there's risk in everything, but you really have got to look at it logically and think, right, okay, how much can I mitigate risk in order to make this successful? Or try. Have you been through those moments? I know I have, where you were just saying it there, is like, you know, you're outlaying a lot of funds. That's what I think in entrepreneurship. I think the biggest thing at the moment is marketing and sales, learning to do those two things hand in hand. But in order to do that, there has to be reinvestment in ourselves. I have had those moments where I've thought, oh, I'm paying out a lot of money on this front end stuff. I really hope it pays off. And we say the word hope. I say the word hope, but I do believe that it will pay off. Have you been through those moments where you're paying out all this money and thinking, I hope this comes to fruition?
Absolutely.
Have you had those moments?
Yeah, totally. You know, there's been moments that I've been with my partner for 20 years.
I thought you were about to say I've been married for.
No, I've been married for like 13 or 14 years, been with my same partner for 20 years. And, you know, the amount of times where it's been like, because it's not just me. I've got 2 kids to answer to, and my wife to really, you know, make sure I'm looking out for, and there's been plenty of times where I've been questioned by extended family, and you know, I've really gone through some times where I've not spoken to my whole family, and it's been really lonely, and then it pays off, and then again that feeds back to like, yes, you know, it works. Just keep doing it.
Self-belief.
Yeah,
so
definitely,
big, isn't it?
Definitely.
I had the same conversation not too long ago. We actually, I mean, he has the same conversations a lot as well. Is that even I've had that conversation with the half's gone, what if this doesn't all work? What's plan B? I don't have a plan B.
I don't have
It's plan A.
Yeah.
And something changes within plan A to make sure I stay on track on plan A, because there isn't a plan B. Because I've learned over the last few years, and I'd love to get your take on this, I have really learned that I'm ruthless about just self-belief. Like, I believe in myself. I don't know whether it's naive to think that I believe in myself so much to do things, but I don't see any other way that we can function. If there's a slight bit of doubt, I feel that we're always falling back on plan B. Yeah. Do you feel the same?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of this stuff around about like, oh, don't put so much pressure on yourself, you know, and all this kind of stuff. The thing is this, no one's ever going to put pressure on you to do something you love. You only feel pressure when you're doing something you don't really like. Yeah. So pressure on yourself is like essential to move and grow in the direction you want to go. And you have to be really, really selfish, because if you're not sorted in your head and you're not going where you want to go, then what good are you to anyone else, and what example are you setting for your kids or anyone? Yeah. So that's how I look at it. And it's like, I want to do what I want to do, you know, and then if you don't understand or you don't want to come along with me, you can come along for a point. If you don't want to carry on, then fine. Yeah. But that's what I'm willing to. That's how I'm willing to go through my life. We wouldn't be fulfilled otherwise, would we? No, and that's the most important thing. That's strange, isn't it? Like, I've got my 9-year-old boy, absolute world of mine. But also there is that part of, you have to really enjoy this whole process and be fulfilled. Because I have learned along this journey is that if I didn't try and do this and put my all into it, I can tell you now I'd be miserable. Absolutely. And everyone else would be affected around me. And like you said, you went however long without speaking to family. How has this entrepreneurial journey, this life that you live, talk me through some of the darker times in terms of, you know, how is it, because this can affect home life and stuff. It's hard to get a balance, isn't it? Yeah. Right? It's tough. But it affects, what I find is it affects you more when you believe how you should be, as opposed to how you really are. Like, a lot of people say to me, when I say, what do you want to achieve with this? You know, we're learning how to invest. What's your goal? I want to spend more time with the family. And I say, do you? And I say, how much more? And they go, well, just more time. And I say, well, if I had to spend every minute with all my family, I'd end up in jail, because no one wants to spend every minute with anyone. So I say, if you haven't got an actual goal, what will happen is, if I granted your wish on Monday morning, do you think you might sit there feeling a bit guilty that you don't want to be with your family? Because you'll be like, oh, bloody hell, I just want to get out of this house.
Lockdown.
Yeah, right, exactly. And people don't think about it. So just being aware of that and being realistic and going, look, actually, I didn't want to be a great parent. I wasn't born wanting to be a great parent. I didn't even want kids. I didn't want kids. Like, when I had my kid, I was like, I need some time to get my head around this, because I really don't want kids. And then I got my head around it. Right. I got my head around it. It turns out, you know, it was the best thing and it was amazing. But I wouldn't like profess to be this amazing dad because people are telling me I should be a good dad. Yeah. Whenever you label yourself with things that you feel that you should be, I think that's when you're giving your power away. You're not being yourself. You're not, you know, that's not your life. And that's when you'll get anxiety and depression, when you feel like you're not living up to what you should be.
But don't you think, I reckon it's going to take another 10, 20 years for all the old narratives to disappear. Like all this old society stuff, like we should have this at this time. This is the way that our brain should think and feel. We should follow this path in life career-wise. If you do anything out the norm, you're a bit of a weirdo. If you have good habits and you like doing that more so than the going out at the weekend and drinking, people can't get on board yet that, you know, even for Paul and I'm sure it's the same for yourself. All I want to talk about is business entrepreneurship and self-development and improvement. That's all I want to talk about.
And that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is seen as the minority, opposed to, what do you mean you're not coming down the pub on Friday and we're going to get pissed and we're going to go do this and we're going to go do that and we're going to spend a couple of £100? Yeah. That's the norm. Yeah. And I think it's going to take another 10, 20 years, because I do feel, even Anthony was saying this on the way out, Anthony went to uni and stuff like this, and he was saying more people are becoming aware of going, why am I going to uni? I'm looking at people who are taking this risk, calculated risk. They're doing pretty well. And I'm looking at people who are 10 years older than me and they're miserable. And they haven't even gone and got the job that they want. They're in Sainsbury's now. And I said, how did you get on? They're like, no, not great. Didn't get the job I wanted. Yeah. All right, what are you doing now? Well, I'm just stacking the beans. So, you know, I think there is so much opportunity, and I think people are becoming more aware of it, but we're still holding on to a lot of old narratives, aren't we?
We are. And it does swing both ways, though. Like, I think everything's more accessible, and the people that go to law school, doctor school and all that, they're pushed by their parents because they don't wake up want to be a lawyer. No one does. I will argue that to everyone, by the way. No one wants wakes up.
Record.
Right. So their parents usually have this idea, you've got to be a doctor, lawyer, and they go to uni, they get to about 35 years old, then try and reverse engineer their life to something they actually wanted to do. But on the flip side, it is going the other way as well, where we're seeing everyone, like, if you're not an entrepreneur, you're like a failure. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 if you love it, right? If you love, you can have a great life working happily in a company. Yeah. As long as you're happy, as long as you're doing something you love, that's the most important thing. So it sort of swings both ways, and it's like honestly, the best advice I could give to my kids or anyone is being able to take two opinions and deal with the paradox by forming your own opinion. Yeah. That's like the most powerful skill in the world. Yeah. Because you see both sides. You don't believe in good and bad and, evil and great. It's just like, well, that's that because of that. That's that because of that. I think this. And I can see the benefits of that and the pros of that. And, But
that's a really well-balanced person, because a lot of people will be one side of the fence. I did a video not too long ago on, and I cut it up for TikTok, which was about traveling, is that my belief is that once you've finished education, that you should evaluate your life and think, right, I'm going to knuckle down and get the foundations done so that I can do that in a period of time where things are set up, that if I wish to go traveling a little bit later in life, and people will go in, why would I want to go when my body's decrepit and broken? I'm not on about when you're 92 years old. I'm on about when you're maybe 27, 28. I'm 30. If I want to go traveling, I can go traveling. So I was just referring, but a lot of people took that as, no, you have to enjoy your life, spunk all your money when you're early, and then you can play catch up later on in life. I just don't see the benefits in that. What's your take on that?
I think, the wisdom, my definition of wisdom is the speed at which you can see good and bad in any situation, and like literally dissolve the good and bad. So that, because the whole time that you're one side, you're in pain or infatuation with something, and they always get polarized. You see it like with, these they say never meet your heroes. It's because like you're only seeing one side up there, and you don't see all the other sides that everyone's got. And when that uncovers, you're like, oh no, it's a terrible person, and you're like polarized between it's good and bad and good and bad. Everything's the same, and you just have to have your view and your values and just do what you want to do. That's like 100%.
I totally agree. Do you think baby boomers are slightly annoyed at the possibility of what we're seeing today? I have experienced through some of my videos, if I'm basing it on the profile photos and what you can see openly on a profile, a lot of the comments that have come onto my videos, especially when it came to employment and work ethic and smart working against hard working, is that a lot of people who are annoyed that the possibility of people actually earning 10 grand a month through different avenues annoys baby boomers that are in their 50s, maybe older, that have worked 50 weeks of every single year to earn a basic salary. I can only imagine that would annoy them. But do you think we're seeing this tip of the scales in people can earn a lot more money if you're creative, opposed to this 50 working weeks in the year basic salary?
I think there's never been more opportunity to leverage resource and be resourceful and make more money than ever today. And I think those people saying that, baby boomers, are just limited in their beliefs or comprehensions of what's possible. Because back in the agricultural age, you had 100 farmers mowing a field, right? Mowing a field. And then one day, you can imagine the realization when some guy just jumps in a combine harvester, some 20-year-old, and's like doing the whole field in 10 minutes, right? So then capitalism was born, and then the industrial age, and it's like, right, okay, well, we're all Morgan, Goldman Sachs and all these kind of rich bankers, they're like, yeah, well, we're gonna control it, all the robots and stuff. And then you got some kid on TikTok going, and he's now like got partnerships and buy-in from some of the biggest companies in the world, and it's like, there's a massive shift going on, and you can either drown or ride the wave. And some people they're either closed-minded to riding the wave, or they just don't know how to, or what the opportunity. You don't know what you don't know.
Love that. I always say that. You don't know what you don't know. I think it's a bit of frustration. It's almost, I think anyone that is of a certain age that hasn't yet kept up or moved with the times. It was like businesses during COVID. Businesses became bitter about other businesses that pivot, adapted, changed, went online. People that were willing to move and catch up with the times in order to carry on selling, providing a service scale. The ones that didn't, I find that they just sat there and they're just like...
Well, they all had the same choice, right?
They all had the same choice. I think there was even a case between like B&Q and Homebase. I think it was B&Q that went, right, we're going to up our deliveries and you can have in-store collection. Homebase were just sat on their hands and were like, don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And people lose business and profits, and then people become bitter. I feel it's the same with the baby boomers, is they're looking at people like TikTok. That's the other thing. We're in a day and age where, I'm sure you find this the same if you can work on your phone, is that if you want to lay on your sofa with your legs behind your head, if you can do that, I can't do it. But if you can work on your phone doing that, you're still working. But to someone who's not in that industry, they're going to be thinking, lazy shit. Yeah. Get out there, get on the ground and pick up those bricks.
And again, there is a massive paradox there where it's like, so everyone wants to be able to do what they love every day, right? In my definition of freedom is just choice. Choice how to spend your time. And those people you're referring to will say like, oh, YouTubers isn't a real job and all this, right? And I coach two very, very successful YouTubers. And ultimately what they've done is they just live and get paid to live. Because they've figured out, actually, if I just do this and, people find it interesting and entertaining, I will get paid to just live. So you're going to do something for the rest of your life anyway. If you can just get paid to do what you would normally do if you didn't have to go to a job, that is like complete freedom. And that's all YouTubers are doing. So,
But that's like when we talk about what we're doing now, we're doing a podcast, it ties into YouTube, TikTok, your socials, my socials. The word socials, I don't like to use because it's a business. I was talking on the way up. It's a business. This is like all a business purpose. But from the outside, this looks like me and you have just got spare time. We've got fuck all else to do. Let's face it. That's what it looks like. We're just sitting here in front of a camera because our egos are big and we're vain and we want TikTok clips. It's got to go viral. But it's not, is it? There's a plan. There's a bigger picture beyond it. I think anything that has analytics to it and that can be changed and you can make tweaks, that's of a business approach. And that's, we're going to go away from this. You're going to get your clips. We're going to look at it, what worked, what didn't work, and then we'll make improvements. Again, that whole thing of people not seeing the yards that are put in behind closed doors. They don't see it, do they?
No, I think people with small time and space horizons in their mind are the ones that do, they get complacent. And you just said about the bigger picture. B&Q home base, one was complacent and didn't have a bigger cause, and one did, and that's ultimately what's going to get you driven to figure out the stuff to move to the next thing, right? So my whole thing, I grew up on a council estate. We lived there till I was 18, 5 years old. I remember crying in pitch blackness in our flat. I was only me and my mum. Electricity wasn't paid. That was all off. She wouldn't let me in the bathroom when she was having a bath because she was prudish, and I was scared. I remember this vividly. My babysitter was Joey Pyle, who was like Ronnie Cray's best man, and there was all these gangsters and Barbara Windsor coming around. I was left with these gangsters all day. My real dad gets shot, stabbed. They close the pub down. He goes to a secret location, and my whole upbringing was, I could go to crime, but actually I valued security and never wanted to be like that. I wanted money, and I chose to do that, and that is my bigger cause, is to actually work with convicts and prisoners and get people a second chance, because I'm taking like that dark side that I have got in me and using what I've become for the better of good. And I know that that's a goal I'm never going to achieve, but it's something that's big enough to keep me learning and growing and moving on to the next stage.
Because we're very similar, entrepreneurs and criminals. It's just that
absolutely
two different paths. Not enough guidance on one side and not enough right people around. So they're very close. I've said that before. With socials, in fact, actually, I think you commented on one of my videos. The question that you must get a lot is, what business do I start now? I want to get into entrepreneurship. I want to leave my full-time job. I need to start a business. I want to get out of the rat race. I'm sick of it. I always just say to people, you need to start with education and the right people around you, because they'll inspire you to keep going, because this is a hard road. I do believe that you have to have a non-physical product to really scale in any economy or any change in any market or industry. I think you commented on one of my videos saying, I totally agree about, having a non-product but something online that you can scale.
Yeah.
What would you say to anyone sort of sitting here watching it thinking, I'd love to start a business?
Yeah.
Where do they start?
Absolutely. Yeah. Timeless and spaceless, free from wear and tear, that kind of product. Something you could do today and it will be the same in 100 years and it won't lose quality and they can watch it from anywhere, whatever. That's kind of a great, wise business route to go down. But it really starts with you and your purpose and your values, because there's a lot of people jumping on drop shipping and all this kind of stuff, right? But no one wakes up every morning going, I just can't wait for some robot to go and select something in a warehouse somewhere in India and then deliver it to someone where I have no interaction with. And that's not fulfilling. It's not rewarding as a human. So you need to do something that's aligned with what gets you up. Like if you didn't have to do anything on Monday, what would you choose to do? What's important to you? What do you spend most of your disposable income on? How do you spend most of your time? What do you bring up in conversation the most when you're around your friends? What do your friends know you as? The football guy or the karate guy, whatever it might be, the animal lover guy. What is that? And when you can kind of see the patterns in that, a great thing to do, flick through your camera roll. And if you go through your camera roll for 10 years, you'll see themes of things you've chosen to take a photo of. When you can start to figure out what that is, you can then align a business to those values, and you'll do way better than anyone trying to do drop shipping.
Yeah.
So it starts with being clear about who you are and then figuring out how to monetize that.
Having a longer term vision, isn't it? Like I say that all the time. When anyone starts a channel, brand, TikTok, website. What will someone think of that in 6-12 months that might want to work with you? Is it professional? Is it aesthetically good looking? Is it set up? Is it very clear to who you are, where you're going, stuff like that? Instead of, this is who I am today, I'm going to post a photo of my dog, my lasagna, and a night out, and a bit of a property that I viewed, something like that. Confusion, basically. Yeah. I think you have to have real clarity on where you'd want to be. And for me, I'd always say to someone, I wouldn't plan too far ahead. I'd say 5 years is a good term, especially with like COVID. I think having a 10-year and 15-year plan, you don't know what's around the corner. I think you get wipes like that.
No.
I just want to quickly ask, just on the social aspect, how important for you has been your brand? Because that's a huge talking topic, like everyone says building a brand. Mm-hmm. How important is that?
I think it's key to having an unfair advantage on income, freedom, talent. You create a demand and supply tension in the marketplace by building a brand where you've got more people that want to work with you than you can actually serve. And when that happens, you're in this magical position where you can dictate rates, you're non-competitive, you attract talent, people want to work with you, people are willing to take a pay cut to work with you because you're up to something bigger. You said to me when you came on, you said like your persona online is just very real, and that's because I love talking about finance. It's come from me as a kid crying outside my mum's room to me choosing to do that every day. When you're not in that position, people can smell it a mile off. It's like, well, you're just trying to talk about it, you don't really want to talk about it. So when you have that and you can build a brand around that, it's like it's magnetizing, and then you're non-competitive. The best example I give is like, if there was like a barber, two barbers, one barber just cuts £15 a haircut or whatever. The other one puts together this package that's like the non-neck itch and the beautiful sound and the personalized beard trim and all this and you build this package that's non-comparable. Then you can't compare price, and then it's just, well, I just want to go to them because they can solve all my problems and I'll pay whatever. And then you build a brand around that, and you have a bigger message around that, and you team up with a charity that's solving one of the world's biggest problems, like the United Nations Global Goals or something like that, and you align that with a brand. People just want to be part of something that's up to something. They don't want to just go, and they'll pay whatever. So
I'm so glad. What did I say to you on the train on the way out? I just mimicked every word you just said. You got a barber and a Forex trader here. So you got both. So you just answered to both.
My son's a barber.
I said exactly the same thing. What did I say? If you have a videographer follow you the whole way round, they're going to want to be with you, not just because you're the barber, but you built the brand. And then your money goes up, like your demand goes up. I was saying that.
We're literally doing this right now in my son's barbershop.
Oh, nice. It's the way to go. Yeah. Like you just said, I said this to a friend yesterday. If you build a brand and you can rapidly do that, and you become the person that everyone wants to be around, your price rate goes up. It just does. You haven't even got to put it up. And I've noticed certainly through TikTok, the brands that reach out, what they're willing to pay for a post is sickening.
Yeah.
And then you can imagine, right, what would you be earning if you're on 1 million followers? Like, it's insane. Yeah. So huge opportunity.
There really is.
Mate, as we sort of come to a close, what would be your final words of inspiration to people to leverage socials immediately, take action, go fast, and then I suppose limiting the damage of like money and time along the way?
Yeah. Don't let your ego control your decisions with social. Make sure that you're using it to put out authentic messages. The best thing I can say is, like, I've got this belief that if you wouldn't happily have a camera in your house 24/7, you've got something in the closet. There's something you don't want the world to see. Right. And the whole time you've got something you don't want the world to see. When you do open that camera, you're hiding all the things that you don't want people to see. So there's incongruency. Congruency just comes across on camera. People can see it a mile off. So if you are going to do something, don't put on a persona of someone else. Just be yourself. Second of all, that's going to make speaking to camera easier, because it's not like you're trying to be something you're not. But ultimately, the more people you can reach through social media, the more people are going to hear your message. The more people that hear your message, the more people are going to resonate with you. And it's not about keeping everyone happy either. It's about being the best entrepreneurs I've seen are really contrarian, polarizing. They have their opinion. It's not like, oh, it depends. No one says it depends. It's like, no, this is what it is.
Yeah.
and every answer I've given you today is
where you stand.
Yeah.
It's either it's either yes or no.
Yeah. And what happens is you get all the people that go, oh, this bloke's a dickhead. or the people that go, I'm his army. I agree 100% with what he says. That polarizes people to your build raving fans. And then once you've got that, you just want more and more of those people. Don't worry about all of the hater comments. And again, I just want to say, a lot of people banish haters. I want to be around positive people and I hate haters. Positive people will just make you fat. Haters, it only hurts when you don't like it about yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So haters actually make you grow. They're the ones that actually give you feedback that you think, oh, actually, that did hurt. Why does that hurt? That I better work on that. I am a bit fat. I do want to actually lose weight and I'm going to go and lose weight. So if you just see again, good and bad, not seeing good and bad, just seeing everything as helping you along the way.
Amazing points. I would mirror everything you said. And I would say with the haters, helps the algorithm. And do you know what? Sometimes as well, what did I say on a TikTok live once? I say, I am who I am on the TikTok live, who I am here,
Absolutely.
off camera, on camera. And I like that because people can make a decision. You're either with me or you're not.
Absolutely.
There's no kind of I can't figure him out because it looks like he's got 5-10 exterior layers on. And that's only really a sign of insecurity and low self-esteem because you're going to have to pull off those exterior layers at some point. But Jason, mate, I'm so aligned with you. I could talk all day. Let's do a part 2 at some point. Definitely. For sure. And mate, I've just loved it. There's a lot of value. So rewatch it, watch it again, go connect with Jason. Where can people reach out to you and get in contact?
Yeah, I run a podcast called Always Free. So if you check it out, that's quite good. If you start episode 1, if you go and check that out, you'll get the most value from it there. Or jasongraystone.com, you can see what I do. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, mate. And for everyone that's watched, we will see you all very soon.